Hey everybody, today is a man cave special. What shenanigans have we been up to today? Well, you saw the picture a couple of days ago, the cord for my 9-inch grinder, which I actually realized, well, it's 30 years old and it just gave up in so many places and had so much tape on it, and the end plug is completely used up and it's time to chuck it. And unfortunately, the replacement cords wouldn't be here in forever. Probably out in a boat outside Long Beach or Los Angeles ports in a ship somewhere. So I actually went and got a heavy-duty 25-foot extension cord and put some more tape on it and just jerry-rigged my machine up. And it actually works. So I had a lot of people that asked, what does this shrinking disc do? And there were so many messages and so many questions on it that I figured I would talk a little bit about it today. So this beast of a machine is a, 9,000 or 7,000 RPM, I think it is. Yeah, I can't even read it. No, 6,000 RPM. And this sucker weighs a chunk. And I gotta tell you, when this thing goes at 6,000 RPM with the Customs by Spence Shrinking disc on it, and you rub it against the sheet metal, and the friction in it, depending on if you do it here or here or here or here, takes the machine and the gyros hit all over the place. And I gotta say, I thank the Customs by Spence Shrinking disc and the Milwaukee grinder for my my upper body strength and my recovery of my lost bicep, because wheeling this thing around, and I'm not gonna show you how to use it right now, because not only is it Sunday, and I have neighbors and I don't want to disturb them on Sunday, so hopefully you can understand that. But let me fire it up for a little bit, and it takes a little while for it to slow back down so that you get an idea of what this thing does. Are you ready? Oh, I gotta plug it in, huh? Or did I? Hey, that would be a real bummer if the switch is bad too. Let's see. Oh my God. Really? There she goes. So you essentially rub this against the sheet metal and kind of float it back and forth on an area that has been damaged or rippled, or you worked and it is a little bit overstretched. And I'll show you some example in a little bit. And then once you have run it over that and kind of heated the panel up, and what it'll do, it'll find all the height spots on the panels, and it will rub those harder than the other areas. And then you soak a rag in cold water and you rub the panel and cool it off, and that draws down the high spots. And I'll show you a little bit later on the quarter panel that's behind me here, right in the end, because this car got tagged really hard at some point in its life, and they did a so-so repair, and we're trying to straighten that out. And we've done most of the work to take care of the worst of the stuff, but it shows some of the low spots, so that I'm hoping that you can see it in the camera. But once you kind of mark the panel up with the friction of the disc, here's another type of disc. This is actually a shrinking disc by Sun Chaser Tools. You can't really see it on the back there, but they don't sell them anymore that I'm aware of. I have one new one left, and I'm keeping this one because it works really good. Problem is, when they get well used, they start cracking, and you don't want stainless coming flying apart in your, usually it's around the crotch area, so they're not fun that way. But when this rubs against the metal, it'll leave kind of a mark as you float the panel, and then you can see all of the, all of the low spots, and then you could go back in, and I'll show you, I have some pics and stuff like that. You can go in and erase those spots, and then you go over it again with the shrinking disc, and pick up those spots that you now have raised, and then eventually it kind of normalizes the panel and shrinks it down to a point where it's nice and stiff, and you can do some fine-tuned bodywork on it. But you know, I'm not trying to make this an instructional video, and heaven forbid, you know, you don't use your safety gear. You got to put your glasses on, and they are loud as hell when you go onto the metal. They get even louder. And you know, I would wear a leather apron and stuff too in case it comes apart, because at 6,000 RPM it'll hurt you. So please be careful. Well, let's go look at the panel. See if we can kind of show you a little bit better. Get it here. Wrong way. So I have some marked, and hopefully you can see, but right here, you can see a kind of a lighter spot, and I'll get you a close-up in a little bit, but there's a lighter spot here where it was a wrinkle. There's another lighter spot here where it was a wrinkle. And also here, where you can see the low spots that I haven't picked up yet. There's also one here that I picked up a little bit, but then the cord went out on the machine, so I haven't finished those. But there's two right here. So let me switch you around, and let's see here, right button, and then we'll give you a little bit more of a close-up, trying to see if I can actually get you. I even outlined them with a pen, but you can kind of see that light gray area versus the dark gray area, and that's where the blade has been touching and shrinking. And you can see up here too, you have some low spots that I've picked on, but they have not been touched by the blade yet. And the same up here. Let me see if I can get a little bit different angle. You can see where I'm just picking and coming up to be level. And the same here, it had a big old wrinkle all the way down to here, and we picked most of that up. And it's actually a point where most people would probably mud this up and be done with it. But I'm going to go a little bit further because we want to make this car nice. In this particular case, we actually, since this car was hit in the corner here, we actually are replacing the rear panel of the fin. They have that piece, fortunately, and they had it in the stock, so it's not at one of the ports. But this way I have good access to pick up and work the area. And let's see here, let me just show you too. One of the really neat little tools that are out there is one of these little pick deal. For those of you that can't find the spot to pick, but you just aim right there, and you can go in and you know exactly where you're going to hit, because it comes in and hits right between those. Now the handy deal. And then in quarter panels, when it's hard to get to, you got small little hammers that you come in and stick in through the holes and stuff and work the panels. Now obviously you need hammers and dollies and all the other stuff. But again, it's not an instructional video to speak of. But I will do a shameless spot for Cruising Nationals 2022 at West Coast Customs Memorial Day weekend. So right next to, actually we got some lead going right there, which they don't do very often. But also Customs by Spence sent us that disc, and it's been working really good. So customsbyspence.com if you want to look for that. And also the he has this shrinking disc right here. Flip it over. This is what I use now that I can't get those anymore, and I feel a lot safer with this one for some reason. So actually, let me show you what they look like, what the old ones look like once you use them too far. You can see how they're cracked on the end there. They get a little on the scary side. But anyhow, so that's a little bit of explanation of what the shrinking disc does. And there was a lot of people that asked about it. And this one is quite effective because of the waffle pattern or whatever you want to call it. But also, like you saw, the cracking part is scary. And keep in mind, they don't last forever, so you still need to replace them. But at 85, I think he's charging $85 for those. It's been worth every penny. So Customs by Spence on that, if you want to try it. And I would get the most heavy-duty grinder I can get, or a Ford or whatever. But you take a too small one, it really doesn't do a good job. So it will work, but you know, when I went and I actually took a basic and advanced class at the Hammerman's shop down in LA area, and he gave me an advice to buy the most highest quality tool possible. And that tool, this grinder that's over here, that I just put a cord on, it has lasted for 30 years. Ever since I went to that basic and advanced sheet metal class. Thank you, Milwaukee. This is one hell of a machine. So, like I said, it's heavy, but it's good. So, anyway, so that's what's going on here in the man cave at Customikes. We have a few little things that we're playing around with. No, the mini market's not in here because it's been so busy and I've been sick for a little bit and a bunch of other stuff going on. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys hanging with us here at Customikes, and we'll chat with you later. Happy Halloween to you all too. I hope that answers the questions for you, and we'll see you next week. See ya.